guys, so in this video I'm going to be telling you 5 places that I recommend visiting in Asia for adventure travel. Adventure travel is my favorite kind of travel. I love to go to kind of off the beaten path places and do adrenaline-filled activities. So these are 5 places that I have had, well, 4 places that I've had adventures in, and then 1 place that I just know is adventurous and I want to go there so bad. Without further ado, they're in no particular order, and I'll kind of give you some recommendations for different types of adventures that you can have in each location. Comment down below of your own recommendations because there are so many places in Asia that offer incredible adventures. So I would love to hear where you have had adventures or what places you dream of visiting and having said adventures. So let's see how many times I say adventures in this video. Here we go. Number 1 is my favorite country in the entire world. I cannot wait to go back to this place. It is amazing, and that is Mongolia. Now, Mongolia, when I went, was one of the least visited tourist destinations on the planet, and that was about almost 2 years ago, I guess 2 years in November. So it has grown since then, which is kind of grown in tourism, and that is kind of bittersweet for me because one of the amazing things about it is how kind of untouched it is, or it was. I've kind of talked about how it frustrates me with Thailand, how touristy it is. Like whenever you go to like a cultural thing, it's kind of all fake, and that's not how the people actually live. But that is so not true in Mongolia. You are seeing really real Mongolians, and this is how they live, and this is how they thrive, and this is how they've lived for like thousands of years, and it's incredible. So I love that, but it's an adventure destination because it is so untouched. If you're going somewhere in Mongolia, they have almost no roads. So you're literally driving off into the horizon, into the middle of nowhere. It has some of the most beautiful landscapes that are perfect for hiking and trekking, horseback riding. I got to go horseback riding on like half wild stallions, and that was so cool. And I got to go ride on camelback next to sand dunes, and then you can go to the west and go up into the mountains and watch the eagle hunters, and it's just so cool. It's just such an amazing adventure destination. If you love to read adventure novels, watch adventure films, and you want to live that, go to Mongolia. You will experience it, and it will be amazing. Number 2 is a place that I actually mentioned in my last video, which was about newbie travelers to Asia, but let me explain. My next country that I'm going to talk about is Indonesia. Now, I mentioned Bali in the last video because Bali is a great place for first-timers because there are so many tourists. And Bali definitely does have some adventure destinations because like you can go bungee jumping or whitewater rafting or scuba diving, all that kind of stuff, but it is just so tourist packed that it's kind of not what I consider real adventure. But if you go out of Bali to the rest of Indonesia, it's totally adventurous. You can go to Sumatra and you can go trekking to find orangutans in the wild. You can go to Kalimantan where they have like the most dense, lush rainforest in the world with some of the most unique animals that are only there. You can go over to the Komodo Islands and trek with actual dragons. You can go to Raja Ampat and do some of the world's best scuba diving. You can go to Papua, which I never actually made it there, but it would be amazing, I've heard. It's just very, very untouched, and there are tribes people, and kind of in the same way of Mongolia, like that is how they actually live. So just leave Bali and you are filled with incredible adventures. It is such an amazing country, and adrenaline all the time, everywhere. Now, number 3, I'm kind of cheating because it's not technically in Asia, but it's so close to Asia that if you're already in Asia, you probably could pop down here, and it's technically its own continent, so I'm talking about Australia. But Australia is such an amazing adventure destination that I couldn't really not include it, and with Australia, I'm also kind of including New Zealand, a 2-for-1, but I haven't personally been to New Zealand. So I can't just like go on and on about New Zealand because I haven't personally been there, but it is the adventure capital of the world. So if you want to go scuba diving, or not scuba diving, skydiving, or well, we can go scuba diving there. I've never really looked into it. But you can go skydiving and bungee jumping and hiking and zorbing and everything that has a name that involves your heart beating really fast. You can do in New Zealand, and obviously you can be a hobbit, so what else would you really want to do? But in Australia, you can do pretty much all of that stuff as well, apart from being a hobbit. But it's so vast and so huge, and you can go to the desert and do desert activities. You can go to the rainforest or to the cities, or you can go to the Great Barrier Reef and do some incredible scuba diving. You can go do cage diving with great white sharks in Western Australia. You can swim with whale sharks. You can swim with whales. You can do so much in Australia. And of course, it's just an adventure every day because there are so many creatures there that could kill you at any time. So, pure adventure from the moment you step foot on Australia. It's adventurous. It would be such an adventure to like rent a camper van and just drive everywhere. So cool. Number 4 is the only place that I have not personally been, but I dream of going there, so I feel like I know pretty much about it, and that is Nepal. Nepal is such an adventure destination because it offers some of the, or probably the best hiking, trekking, mountaineering, rock climbing, ice climbing in the entire world because the Himalayas are just, or it is right in the Himalayas. So obviously, probably the most popular adventure thing you can do is you can hike to the Everest base camp, which is such a dream of mine. Actually, it's my dream to summit Mount Everest, but I feel like that's probably not going to actually happen. So I at least want to get to the base camp to look at the world's tallest mountain. But then you can also, there's so many other adventure trekking and climbing that you can do. And then of course just Kathmandu itself. It seems like such a cool, vibrant city, and I'm sure it offers crazy, cool, adventurous, adrenaline pumping things that you can do. So Nepal would definitely be one of the ultimate destinations for an adventure traveler and worth every penny, I'm sure. Someday I'm gonna get there. And finally, number 5, I have some explaining to do with this because it is an adventure destination. And it's not that I don't recommend it, but I sort of don't recommend it. I don't know. Number 5 is a very adventurous place that I've been, and it's the place that I probably get the most questions about, for good reason, and that is North Korea. Now, I will link my vlogs there up here somewhere, because it was a really, really interesting trip. I don't necessarily recommend it because it is so dangerous, especially right now. I went almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I guess. And of course, it was never safe to go, but I wouldn't go now. No way. And I've heard that America might do like a travel ban on Americans going there, which I think would be okay. So if you're American watching this, I don't necessarily recommend you going, especially in this current political climate. But if you're from Europe or Canada or somewhere else, you'll probably be fine. And it was really, really fascinating. It wasn't the kind of adventure like bungee jumping and skydiving, but it was totally adventurous because you were aware of how dangerous a place you were in at all times. I never once felt unsafe the entire time that I was there. I had a really good time, and I had amazing tour guides, and it was super educational, and yeah, so I had a really good time, but it was the most adventurous place in a way that I've ever been because I was so aware that anything could just change like that and I'd be screwed. So yeah, it's adventurous for sure, but I don't necessarily recommend it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. But if you're into history and you're into like learning about a very unique culture and going to a place that not many people get to go, and that's your idea of adventure, then it's a great place to go. And as I said, I had a wonderful time. I definitely look back on it as one of the most unique experiences of my life. So, the ball's in your court now with North Korea. So there you go. Those are 5 places that I recommend for adventure travel in Asia. As I said at the beginning of the video, please comment down below with your own personal recommendations or your dreams, because I want to know some other adventure destinations in Asia. I know there are so many that I didn't mention, and so many places on my bucket list, and I'm sure on yours as well. So let's share the knowledge, share the love, y'all. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys with my next video. Bye. Make sure you subscribe. I see you leaving without subscribing.